to go live and cook dinner. I'm cooking meatloaf, cabbage, and potatoes. And I'm going live because a lot of my life right now is cooking. I love cooking. I want to do more cooking content. And in order to get there, I actually have to cook. So, I mean, not cook, but yeah, like cook and record. But it's a lot of work to cook and record. And so it's just easier to go live. So I'm going to try it and see how it goes to just cook. I'm just cleaning off the stove. I made some grits this morning, and the thing from the grits is it was the stove was dirty, and I like for my space to be clean. So, like I said, I'm going to be making this cabbage. I told you guys in the grocery haul that I want to figure out how to make a really good cabbage. So I'm making a very basic cabbage. And when I say basic, I mean it's just there's no like peppers, onions, none of that extra stuff. It's very basic because when I'm cooking with the recipe, I like to, hi Vanessa, hi Kia, hi Jeanette. Whenever I'm cooking with a recipe, I like to first of all follow the recipe all the way through before I add any additional things. And then I also like to find the most fundamental recipe so then that way I can build skills versus just learning a recipe. And I should know how to cook cabbage. I've cooked it a ton of times, but I don't feel like my cabbage is good. So we're going to the absolute basics for cabbage. And then I'm also making meatloaf. And so what I did for the meatloaf, I'll show you guys this. Something else that I've learned is to start everything with the mise en place. Let me see. I feel like I should change up my counter space. Hold on just a second. Yes, so that way I'm not. And we'll just use, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's gonna be some real time learning. Okay, yeah, that gives me some counter space to work with. But I made a mise en place earlier today because I needed to run to the store to pick up my additional ingredients, and so I am making the $1 million meatloaf that I told you all about in my newsletter. It is three different recipes that I tried, all blended into one. So you will see me kind of glance over here at the computer because there's a step in one of the recipes that I just want to make sure that I do right. But I'm making $1 million meatloaf, and these are my ingredients for the meatloaf. This brown sugar goes over here too. So Worcestershire, breadcrumbs, butter, mustard, ketchup, eggs. I was gonna do flax egg instead of real eggs because you guys know that my body doesn't really like poultry, and so I prefer to do that. I went to the store; they didn't have any flax for me to make a flax egg, so I'm just going to use this in my $1 million meatloaf. Normally, it is a flax egg, not this egg, but because none of the stores around me had it, and I didn't want to do a full Instacart order, I'm just going to do a regular egg. You needed a small onion. I had half of a large onion left over from when I made the Holy Trinities, which I don't know if I showed you guys that from my grocery haul, but you still can't see it from here. You can't see that. But this is frozen celery, bell pepper, and onion. So that way, whenever I want to make something savory and with that Cajun like undertone to it, I can build that flavor from that. Um, uh, 2 cloves of garlic, salt, onion powder. Actually, this onion powder doesn't. That's what mind that. Garlic powder, paprika, parsley, brown sugar. Rye is going to be joining us shortly. She is doing some independent play right now while I get things started. And then for my ground beef, or for my ground meat, I'm doing a ground beef and a ground pork. Is that her? No, she's still fine. I figured out, I tried to put Italian seasoning in one of my meatloafs one time, and it was the worst. It was too greasy. It was wrong. So I know now the ground pork gives me that savory, salty flavor, and the ground beef is that anchoring taste and flavor. So those are the meats I'm going to be using, and I think Rye is crying. Let me go get Rye. I will be right back. Oh, okay. Never mind, her dad's got her. So let's get started. I think the hard part about the recording of this is when I have to step away from the camera. But you guys will just bear with me until I learn how to do this better. Yeah, I love the Holy Trinity. Once I found out, I hope you guys see, I think you can hear me because I have my AirPods in. So even when I'm moving around, can you press one when I'm moving around? Can y'all hear me because of my AirPod? Should I put both of them in? Maybe let me go grab my other AirPod. I'll be right back just to make sure that you guys can hear me really good. You gonna keep her, Papa? Oh, okay. I'll put on my little thing. I like to cook with her. I don't know what I just did with my AirPod. Um, Let me cut up this onion real quick and then she can join me. But then we don't want I just don't want it to spray in her eyes. Okay, let me see if that's better. Is that better? Can you guys hear me better with the two? With the two in or does it might not matter. But I went in there. Oh, I went in there for that too. Let me grab that. Hold on. This is kind of fun. I feel like I'm on a cooking competition or something. Like it would be kind of dope to do this maybe like once or twice a week. Um, okay, so this is going to be for this, and you see my chunks. Okay, so let's start with cutting up the vegetables and stuff, and I guess we can kind of just chit chat with each other. I only have to cut up the onions and garlic, so it's not going to be that much. I can kind of tell you guys a little bit what's going on. I feel like um, the last video that I posted was about, that's why I brought the other one out, a trash bowl. The last video that I posted was my grocery haul. And somebody had mentioned in another video, like, would I cook the granola live and online? And thank you. I love that ground beef from Aldi. Yeah, it's perfect. It is literally the perfect ground beef. Um, Somebody had asked me if I would cook the granola live, and I will do that. Maybe sometime later this week, I'll do my big batch of granola. But I wanted to try a dinner because, truthfully, I have the most fun when I'm preparing dinners, and that's where I'm getting a chance to practice a lot of my skill building that I'm learning from my home economics class. The other day, I made a pasta dish and I made a sauce from scratch, and I was so proud of myself because I'm learning. Of course, my AirPods are about to die. Okay, so let's do one. I'm gonna put this on the charger. Um, we'll do that. We just need some diced onion. Again, this is just half of a large onion that was left over. So I'm just gonna do a rough chop on these. But what I was learning in my home economics class is how to build skill. And so one of the places where I'm learning how to build the most skill is in the kitchen. And for me, in my home, the kitchen is the heart of our home. And something that I'm learning as I'm studying more and learning more about homemaking is that for most people, the kitchen is the heart of their home, but it doesn't have to be that way for all people. You have to think about your priorities and like what you want for your family, and then based on that, that becomes the thing that's the heart of your home. But for me, I really want my kitchen to be the heart of the home. I feel like we get so much mental and emotional, physical health from the kitchen that's a part of it. But I also do in terms of hobbies. I love it in here. I absolutely love it in here. And so there is a lot of romanticizing of things that have to get done in the kitchen because I enjoy it so much. And I think just on the homemaking front, that's the big thing that's been going on. I feel really good, and I have put this in the newsletter. I feel really good about getting my grocery budget to about $500 a month. That feels incredible, especially with me going in the store recently and learning about the prices of groceries. I said, what? Like, I know I see groceries on the app, but it just was different to actually go in the store and see them. I was blown away. Like, literally, my mind was blown. So that's about half of a large onion. Oh, and then in terms of meat, the recipe calls for 2 pounds. I'm doing about, what am I doing? A pound. I'm doing a pound and 3/4. How would we say this? 1 pound and 1 3/4 pound. So just a little less than 2 pounds, a quarter less than 2 pounds. And this is actually a lot of garlic, so I think I'm just gonna do that. I actually do really like a lot of garlic, but something that I've learned in recipes is that you can over season with one ingredient, particularly an aromatic like garlic or onion, and it messes up the whole entire dish. And now that I know that, I'm much more mindful about it. Because before I would be like, I like garlic, so I'm just gonna throw some extra garlic in there. But it's like when you throw in extra ingredients, it actually changes the taste and the flavor sometimes, but mostly the taste. And me learning that there's a difference between taste and flavor, I said, oh, this is why sometimes food that should be good isn't good. So, I know one of the first things that we do for this $1,000,000 meatloaf is we saute our onions to make sure that they are cooked up and we're blooming the flavor instead of putting them in there raw. That means inside of the meatloaf they'll sweat less, and if they sweat less, it doesn't take the moisture out of it, but it takes out the wateriness of it. Like our meatloaf is going to be very, very moist because I'm going to also have some half and half. But when you leave your raw onions in there, you'll have the wetness from the raw onions versus just the flavor from the raw onions. So we are going to saute those. I don't remember if I'm supposed to saute the onion or not, so I'm going to double check one of my recipes. Babe, what's the, never mind. It came up. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna use a little bit of this butter, and we are going to go over to the stove, and we're gonna split these onions. Yeah, it's just the onions, right? Did you put the garlic in there? I don't think so. Oh yeah, yep, we bloom the onions and the garlic, but we bloom the onions first. Okay, so something that I learned in my home economics class is a concept called blooming. FYI, when your AirPod went into the charger, the one you have turned off. Oh, okay. Let me just put this one in there then too. And let them both charge. Since you guys are just hearing me from here. And then in like 15 or so minutes, it'll come back closer. Okay, that's good to know. So then that way I'll talk a little bit closer to the phone. But just gonna let it be. Oh, in my home economics class, I learned about blooming flavors, and sometimes we can bloom flavors through like sauteing them just until they're tender. And so that's essentially what's happening with this onion and with this garlic. So how do I want to do this so that I am not messing up screens? I'm just gonna walk this over there, and then I'm gonna come back and get you guys. Okay, so I don't know if eventually maybe I'll have some other situation here. So yeah, let me get this butter down into my cast iron. I probably can preheat my oven too. I like Aldi's and their prices. I do. I like Aldi's and their prices too. They have been very, very wonderful for the family. Oh, that's what I was saying. Feeling really good about getting my budget to $500. I think for me, figuring out how to make dinner, $75 or less a week was really, really helpful, because then I had the other $25 left to, you know, move around with like lunch and breakfast, and then the additional $100 left over that to like refill pantry and kind of get some of those odds and end things that we enjoy. This month, because we're moving into a new quarter, I am slowly but surely like restocking the pantry and preparing the pantry. I'm essentially using spring to transition into the summer months, which is going to be much more um, blooming flavors equals my husband's leg shaking when he eats. Yes. And that's what I want. That's what I want. Like, Shanquise doesn't love my food yet. He doesn't. But I appreciate the fact that he is willing to eat it. Um, I appreciate the fact that he is willing to eat it and let me learn and grow and experiment, because I think when I cook for myself, like, first of all, my flavor profile is just different than his. But when I cook for myself, it's easy, like, because I was invested in making it. I think that also is a part of me being like, oh, this is good. Also because I made it, like, wow. But the true test is, well, do other people want to eat it? Because if other people don't want to eat it, it might not be as good as you think it is, you know? Um, so it makes me really happy that I have a really uh, kind taste tester in the house, that he is so willing to do that. That's what I want. I said, give me a couple years. His legs gonna be, his whole body, he's gonna be doing the Harlem Shake when dinner comes to the table. Like, that's the plan. That's the goal. Like, I feel like there's no greater feeling than like when your family eats your food and they have that physical reaction like that. It's the best feeling. So like my son really loves my food. Now, I am not my son's favorite cook. I actually don't want to use that. I'm not my son's favorite cook. His grandma on his dad's side. I want to use this spoon. I don't want to use that either. His grandma on his dad's side is his favorite cook. But there are a few meals that it's just when I cook them for my son, he loves that I cook them for him. He loves the way that I make them. So I made sure, like, as he was growing and developing, like, I created a couple of signature things that's just like, oh, this is how my mom prepares it. And this makes it super amazing. But, you know, with Shanquise, I want to cook for him every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I want him to want to eat every single one of my meals. Like, I don't want it to just be like a handful. Like, I want it to be every single one. Because he's meeting me in a different season of my life. Like, my son, of course, his grandma is a better cook than me. Like, she was cooking for, I don't know, 20, 30 years before I started cooking. So, hi, Simply being from Las Vegas. Nice. Vanessa, yes, that's how the heart of the home becomes the kitchen, too. Yeah, yeah. Yes, that's exactly. Oh, that was the other thing that I was saying. Yeah, just the idea, like, the more I'm learning about homemaking, it is like, it's really fascinating. I'm really grateful to my past self for deciding to focus on the home and build homemaking skills, because I do think that had I not thought about developing homemaking skills 3 years prior to being here, this season would not be as enjoyable. Like, I'm enjoying this season so much more because I focused on homemaking for myself first and figured out how to do that for myself. And then it turned into something that now I can use for my family as it's growing, you know? And there's something to be said for having a natural knack for making a home, and then realizing that you can have a natural knack, but you can also give yourself permission to learn. Because I feel like homemaking isn't one of those things that gets passed down at the knee anymore. Like most things as it relates to being a human, we're not passing down traditions and things like that at the knee anymore. And so many of us are getting our understanding of the world and how life works and how relationships work and family work from the internet, as opposed to from our family of origin. And so a lot is being lost in translation. And so even me realizing that, like, the heart of my home is my kitchen, because of how powerful the kitchen can be in terms of, like, this is our medicine cabinet, right? Like, that's one element of it. This is also our like breaking bread. Like, this is like if something is going on, like, and there's tension or there's conflict or whatever, it's like, I can come in here and I can prepare a meal, we can sit down, we can eat. This is the place where we get fuel to go out and do the day. This is the place where we like set the foundation for how healthy we will be for one another and what we're doing for each other. This is the place where I eat so that I can literally feed my child. So for me, the kitchen being the heart of my home makes the most sense in this particular season. We'll see what happens um, as time goes on. But when I think about it, I think about, you know, my mom's home. I'm coming, baby. She's ready to come in here and cook. Okay, give me just 1 second. Y'all can watch those onions and garlic bloom for me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my baby. You ready to come cook? Or you still hanging out? You shouldn't be hungry, mama. Come on. I told you when we was walking earlier, you gonna help me cook. You gonna help me cook? Um. Oh, okay. Oh, you don't want to burn it. Okay, mamas. Hold on. Burned our garlic a little bit there. I would love to know what you all have for dinner today. What's today? Monday? Tuesday? What's today? What is today? Today's Tuesday? Tuesday, yeah. What did you all have for dinner today? There you go, mamas. Yes, queen. Oh, la, 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 la. Let me tell you what loose food traditions and so many. Yeah, we do. I've grown more and more over the years. I'm so grateful for that. Yes, the back biscuits and the roast person. So something in the cookbook, the Gullah Geechee cookbook that I got that I loved, that like when I checked it out from the library and I touched it, it just felt so like incredible in my hands. I loved that. In her book, she talks about how becoming so good at something that you are just known for that. So you being known for the biscuits and, would you say, the biscuits and the lamb roast? Lamb roast, that is really, really good that people know you for that. It's really, really good to be known for something. Okay, hold on, mama. That definitely got flipped up. Hold on. I gotta make sure that you are okay. Hold on, let me snap it in there. There we go. Okay. Just scooping this out, setting it to the side. I don't know. I think right now in my family, my macaroni and cheese, I'm still not, people know it's coming for me, but I'm not like known for it. Like sometimes people be like, oh, Auntie Stacey, or oh, can you make the macaroni and cheese? It's kind of like that. But like my sister Stephanie is the one who is the natural cook in the family. So people have more requests of her than they do of any one person in my family. It probably goes Stephanie, then my mom, me, Quita, and then my sister Sabrina in terms of people making requests for foods. But eventually I want it to get to a place where you let me know if you want to turn around, mamas. I don't know like if that's gonna be too much for you to just have your whole face in there. Um do 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 had I had braised chickpeas over rice. Ooh, braised chickpeas. A Mediterranean recipe from the Mediterranean diet. Okay, or Mediterranean dish. Okay. Yeah, she is growing up really, really fast. She's a big girl. She's so big. She's so long. Like, it's blowing my mind how fast she's going. Quick and delicious. We had chicken, rarely, butter beans, and rice leftovers from shared meal for supper. We're having oranges, oatmeal matcha lattes. That sounds amazing. That sounds incredible. Let me actually rinse this out since I put that in there. I don't know what was on that. I know we can put this down, so it shouldn't matter, but I want to give it a nice little wipe down. I definitely could have put on an apron. Let me make sure I do this correctly. Oh, I gotta make a little our sauce. I need a bowl for that. This can be big enough. I feel like I hope this is big enough. It might not be, but might not be. But here's hoping. You want to turn around, Mama? I feel like you feel kind of tired. Are you tired? You sleepy? Let me see. Let me turn you around so that way you can get a little bit of. You can rest yourself against my bosom. Yeah. Let me turn you around. Hold your head. Hold your head bobbing a little bit. I want you to be able to get some rest. Better? There we go, mamas. I'm going to make the sauce for the top really quick. I'm making it in this small deli dish because I rarely use all of it. And I rarely use all of it in one sitting, but it is a really good sauce. And I don't want to waste it or use too many dishes. So I'm just going to put it all in here. So then that way, whatever I don't use, I can just go ahead and toss the lid on it and do that. And I talked about this before. These plastic deli dishes, like I understand why they use them. I understand like why chefs work with them. I don't love them. I really don't love them. Like I really, really don't love them. But I do understand why chefs choose to go with a deli dish over just having a bunch of like glass containers around. Like I get it. 4 tablespoons of brown sugar because they stack really nicely. They stack really nicely. They clean fairly easily. And in moments like this where I'm essentially making a sauce, now I have this like very easy separate container of a sauce that can just be very easily stored, you know? So I get it. But I'm thinking long term, I might figure out a mason jar situation because I'm just more of a glass person. I realize that even over acrylic, I'm more of a glass person. I should probably do this with a fork just to break up that sugar. This is just the sauce for the top of the meatloaf. Yeah. Ketchup, mustard, brown sugar, light brown sugar. You okay, mamas? It might get hot in here. Oh, let me actually too. I'm gonna turn on the oven and preheat it. Now, my oven, unfortunately, is not the most amazing oven in all the land, but I have figured out what my temps are because I've been in here trying to cook so many things. So the trick to my oven is I have to do 10 to 12 degrees higher than the degrees that it's supposed to be set, except for once I get over 400. I think it's 425. I wrote it down because after 425, the oven will just keep rising and it won't stop, which is really unfortunate. And so I think last year what I was going to give myself for my birthday was an oven. I might give myself that this year. Because I love that it is gas and all that other stuff, but it's just, you know, it's just not a super quality oven. And if you know anything about cooking and baking, it certainly helps. I'm just putting you guys on the charger. Oh, can you guys still hear me when I have you on the charger?
No, that's not where the speakers come from, right? Yeah, no, that's not. Okay, let me just make sure that charges. Because if not, you guys may have just saw me prep, but we might not cook anything together. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Thank you. She actually, her hair is getting so long. It makes me so excited. We are we are working on hydration um, and we're working on hydration and moisturizing her hair. She got cradle cap really, really bad. It broke my heart. I was over here just so sad, like the saddest human being on the planet. Okay, stressed to the max.
She got cradle cap. And at first it went away and then it came back. And then, I don't know if those cut on. It doesn't sound like they cut on. And then, um, oh, no, that's not connected. Sometimes it connects, sometimes it doesn't. No? Okay. Well, it's not going to connect, then I won't use it.
Then she had this crazy eczema flare, and the eczema flare brought the cradle cap back, and so then it was just like all over her head, and just it was just, oh, I tell you, it broke all of the pieces of my heart. I was so distraught about it. Her dad and my mom and my sisters was like, Stacey, it's okay, it's gonna grow back, it's gonna grow back, and I'm just like, ah. And it was also because it looked really painful too. I didn't like that she looked like she was in an amount of pain that I couldn't do anything about. That made me really, really sad. But I say that to say we were able to take care of the eczema and the cradle cap. And what I'm working on now is actually healing the eczema. I don't want her to have to deal with eczema for the rest of her life. So I'm trying to do things within my diet and different, oops, really dangerous, within my diet and things that she's exposed to so that she does not have to deal with eczema lifelong. Because that flare up was kind of intense. And when I talked to the pediatrician about it, it's not something that they just have to have for the remainder of their life. Um, it can be baby eczema, and it can go away after being a baby. So that's something that we are working on. Let me see. Let's start working on my list. For my breadcrumbs, most recipes call for a Italian. Most recipes call for an Italian breadcrumb, but usually that is preserved with some sort of soy. So that's preserved with some sort of soy. So we're just using the plain breadcrumbs from Trader Joe's. Um, just grabbing our onions from over there. I'm just gonna mix this up a little bit. There's literally something about being in the kitchen that just feels like so amazing. So amazing. What else has been going on? I'm feeling much better, right? Like I have the energy to be on here live right now. And when I say feeling better, I just mean relative to the fatigue of postpartum and the overwhelm of postpartum. Like it gets really, 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 when I say really, 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 really intense, it gets really, really intense. Be out of that phase of it is really, really, that just feels really, really good. So now I just mixed it up just a little bit, but I'm gonna season with a little bit of paprika, which you guys know paprika is my all-time favorite seasoning. And what I've learned, right, because you can over season, over seasoning is whenever you know you've over seasoned when the food doesn't taste balanced. It's not bad, it's not good. It's where it's like it's food, but it's not like this is so good. You probably either over season or under season. And so something that I have to remember with paprika, because it's one of my favorite seasonings, is to not over season with it, because it'll take the balance of the dish away. So and same thing with this one might actually be onion. Same thing with garlic powder. Because I really like garlic, I try not to over season. But also, this is a meatloaf, so you don't want to under season. It's such a delicate balance. Such a delicate balance. We really be out here sometimes fighting for our lives to do things as well as our grandparents did. I know I have some pepper, but is it not on here? What happened to the pepper? Where is my pepper? Hey, mamas. Where's my pepper? Where's my pepper? Did I put it back in the cabinet? Yep, I did. Okay, mamas, let me know if this is gonna be too much for you. I'm gonna try to do fast so that way you don't sneeze. Sneeze it out. There we go. I also really like pepper. And then we're just gonna put a little bit of salt on there. I have, done sneeze myself out. Something that I had mentioned in another video was that I was gonna stop using salt, but based on my home economics class, I'm not gonna stop using salt because salt is something that creates flavor. What I'm gonna do, bless you, you got us both, huh? What I'm gonna do is manage the stuff that was coming up around my high blood pressure and things like that postpartum with other things in my diet. But in terms of cooking, I will continue to cook with salt because I've tried to not cook with salt and it's not for me. We are cooking dinner. We are making $1 Million meatloaf, cabbage for the first time, and boiled potatoes. I heard from you that you like to cook. I hate to cook. Yeah. It's one of those things where I guess you really do either love it or hate it. Do you hate to cook because you feel like you don't know how? Or do you hate to cook because you don't like being in the kitchen? Like, where does the hate come from? I'm curious. For you. Like, and for anybody that's on the call, we're going to add a little Worcestershire. I love this stuff, but again, you don't want to over. Uh-oh. What's that noise, mamas? Don't want to over include. And then we're going to toss in our onions and garlic. I feel like, is it going to be too much? No. It's going to be just right. Because I remember when I hated cooking, but it was like rebellion from childhood because my mom and my bonus dad tried to make us cook, and I didn't like the fact that they tried to make us cook. Now I'm incredibly grateful that that was something that my mom instilled in us, because if I didn't have consequences for messing up food, I don't know if I ever would have figured out how to cook, you know? Because I think cooking without consequence, and when I say consequence, I just mean like somebody else needing to eat the food too, it needing to be edible for other people than you. Not having that consequence shifts the way that you engage with the food. And so when we were growing up with my mom, we had days where you, like one day a week, each of the different people in the family, they had to cook everything for the family. And if the family didn't want to eat what you cooked, then you had to use your allowance to make sure that they still ate. So it's like you couldn't get around the responsibility. You either cooked using the groceries that my mom bought, or you mess it up and you use the money that you earn from your own job. But either way, you are going to feed your family. And I think it taught me a lot of responsibility. um, it taught me a lot of responsibility and care in regard for other people and how other people experience the food that I'm preparing. Because what I used to do, because I didn't really want to cook, is I would just be like, I would just sabotage the food. I would put too much salt in it, or I would put too much salt in it, or I would burn it, and I would do all of that on purpose until my mom was like, "Okay, I see what you're doing. I see right through this. If you mess up food again, you're gonna have to use your allowance to buy pizza or something for the family to eat. The idea is you are responsible for the meal that we have." Um, and so I kind of hated it because I felt like it was a lose-lose situation. But because I went through it, I definitely learned how to care more. And I think without her directly saying, this is how you grocery shop, this is how you make a meal, this is how you, without her directly ever having to say that, because I had that cooking consequence of if they don't want to eat it. And that was the other thing too. It wasn't just if you sabotaged it or didn't sabotage it. It was if they don't want to eat your food, then you also have to use your money to replace it. So, so you were motivated heavily to make it good because let's just say I poured my heart into it. Okay, my miss, I'm sorry. Let's say I poured my heart into it and they were like, I don't like this. I still had to do the work to replace it. So, but I'm curious. This is just half and half. Helps the meatloaf stay really, really moist. I'm gonna do something bigger than this. I've always hated cooking, but I'm an empty nester. Oh, it's just something just from a little girl. You just always hated it. When you did have a full nest, which area of the home would you say was the heart of your home? If it wasn't, I mean, it still could have been the kitchen, even if you weren't the one in there cooking all the time. But that's for anybody that's on the live. Where would you say is the heart of your home? Uh-oh, hold on, mamas. You want to go to Papa real quick while I stir this meatloaf? Are you tired? Yeah. You're going to sleep good tonight. Mama's cooking dinner just a little bit late. Everybody going to sleep good. It's going to be a good, good night. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to get this stirred up. My whole point in coming on here really was to show y'all me making my cabbage, but I only made a thing of meatloaf. Okay, so this is all mixed up. You want to do it until it's like well combined. You want all the seasoning and all that stuff over it, and then I'm going to set it to the side for about 30 minutes actually, so I'm not going to make y'all sit on here and watch that. And I'm going to prep for my cabbage. Next time I'm going to think through the meal a little bit better and my timing a little bit better. Because I kind of like this. This is fun. Being on here and just chit-chatting while I'm cooking. But I'm actually going to set this to the side for 30 minutes just so the flavors and everything blend together. And while I'm doing that, I'll clean and I'll reset my mise en place. I might also do a little bit of feeding. She seems like she's a little bit hungry. But rather than having you guys sit and wait through all that, I may come back. I may not. We shall see. But I appreciate you all being here because 45 minutes went by fast. And I can't believe I'm not done yet. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Okay, Mom.